Buenos días a todos. Gracias
Morning to everyone. Thank you very much, Sergio, for your presentation. First, I'd like to thank the attendees, especially the partners coming from long to our city, and it is my role to do a presentation on open government and transparency in Malaga. Open government has already been mentioned, and we're going to speak about tools which help bringing the administration closer to the citizens and on how information technology makes it easier to do that approach. We're going to speak about technology, but it is not a technological presentation. We're going to speak about, well, in general terms, of our definition, what we understand in terms of open government and transparency. Thanks to projects such as Openwind, we've made specific actions which will be introduced now. We're going to speak first about definitions. It is not easy to reach a consensus on what open government is. It's a recent term which is still being defined. And it is true that there is a certain consensus in terms of some additional terms which in turn help defining what we, those terms, understand by open government. The three foundations are transparency, participation, and collaboration. Those of us working in technology, we love the term we like the term electronic government, which is the addition of the open government concept plus electronic administration. That contributes to what we refer to as government 2.0, a government which uses electronic means to facilitate the access, and through that, together with electronic administration, it makes it easier to be closer to the citizen. In this case, electronic administration has got three fundamental foundations: the modernization of administration, the reduction of red tape, and the use of electronic means in order to facilitate transparency and the information access, the access to information by the citizens. And if we enter into the specific definitions of those terms, we have on one side specifically something which was mentioned before by prior speakers. Transparency in public activity is used through or is channeled through active publicity, and it means that information on the activities of public institutions is made and prepared and ready for the public with an open format and no restrictions for reuse. Active publicity is a term which is defined in the Spanish legislation, and it refers to the need to publish information which maybe has not been requested. It's information which has been subject to a pattern, and there's the duty on the part of public administrations to provide that information. It should also follow an open and accessible format and also a reusable format. On the other hand, another basic foundation of open government is participation. It means that citizens may take part in discussions and decision-making and may make contributions leading to laws, to the making of policies, things that are useful for the common good. Also, this comes from the concept, is derived from the concept of technological society. I'm sure most of you have a smartphone, an intelligent phone, something which was formerly used just to get and make calls is something that now allow you to be in contact all the time. At any moment, someone may get a picture or make a picture and send it to Twitter. So why shouldn't we use that to get in contact with our governments as well in a more active society? And that, in the end, means that that type of participation is demanded from governments so people may participate in decisions. This means that it would be a more active society. Wanting to participate in decision making. And then collaboration would be the relationship between the government and NGOs, groups and individual citizens. This would have a positive influence in the efficiency of the administration. It is essential that the limits existing so far are broken. And thanks to information technologies, that prevents limits from appearing. Citizens do not understand being told you should go to a different branch of the administration. That is no longer accepted by citizens. I should add a couple of additional definitions. We're talking about additional tools, more technical elements, which are essential to understand government. On the one side, we have open data, which refers to actions whose aim is the open access to data. So wealth is generated through the use. In the society of transparency, we're talking about just the information being open, but in this case we're talking about the offering of information to citizens. There's a European directive which is being drafted right now. There's a Spanish law regulating the duty of the administration to offer and generate wealth through the info repository, so civil society may use that information. We'll see now a project which has been done, the Agora project for open data, and launched by the Provincial Government of Malaga. And then Essential 2 would have the accountability term. Accountability is a term which became fashionable in a memorandum prepared by the American President, Mr. Obama, which is the source of the concept of open government. And he spoke about accountability as an essential element to convey that all people dealing with public funds would have clear objectives, measure the objectives, the results obtained through the use of money, and also so irregularities would be put on the table. In a conflicting world such as the one we're living in, accountability is essential both before and after projects. It is said that there are objectives, that is, the authorities should know beforehand what money is going to be devoted to, if objectives have been achieved, and of course in order to avoid irregularities and issues such as corruption. And also, I will finish with definitions here, and I will speak now in general terms. I want to show you a map which is a walking scene. You've there the whole of the world. This is the index, the corruption perception index, which Transparency International published every year. Is based on surveys. It's been done for many years, and it gives you an index between 0 up to 100 where you perceive less corruption, and it establishes a scale of countries. And that's our working scene. Improving that situation is what experts should agree on. On the one side, we have New Zealand and Denmark, which are the only countries with the highest, the best perception of the systems, and then we have North Korea and Somalia. And in the middle, there's the rest of us, and we've got to work in order to improve the perception of our citizens. As an initiative, I wanted to show you one of the most efficient initiatives. It's from the year 2011. It's the Open Government Partnerships, the Alliance for Open Government. It's only been working, it started with 8 countries, now they are some 64, and both governments and civil society are involved. Proposals are coming from society, and governments take part as guests. There you see different colors, different action plan levels. Spain is in the second action plan, Tunis is in the first plan of action. Some other countries here represented are working with this initiative. And this is materialized around a guide with a series of topics and subjects proposed by civil society, and governments commit themselves to a series of commitments which can be assessed and for a certain time allow citizens to cooperate in the fulfillment of objectives. In this second plan of action, there are 10 commitments. It ends by 2017. 2 of those commitments have already been or reached the deadline. Some 6 are at an advanced stage. One of them is not yet started. Now we're going to see, in terms of transparency, as a fundamental pillar, which would be the initiatives. In this case, our country, both in terms of regulations and practical terms. There's a law, the law 19/2013, which speaks about transparency. I think there are 3 concepts there: transparency in public activities, the acknowledgement of that, and I would like to read for you the first paragraph of the preamble. And it's a very attractive law, and the preamble is a very interesting one. It says that transparency, the access to public information, and good governance should be the axis of action. Only when citizens know how decisions are made, how public funds are used, we can speak of a process at which public powers give answer to a demanding society. This summarizes the concepts we have been dealing with. The Opengovernment is a law which is right now active, and we can also speak about it later on, how it's been implemented in Spain. The 3 foundations would be transparency in public governance, active publicity, and also it establishes a series of criteria which are materialized around 3 groups. At the institutional level, planning, there's a series of duties which have, for example, the makeup of the governmental bodies, the staff working at each of the organizations. Active publicity leads to the making of prior plans which are discussed with citizens. And regards to information access, it acknowledges that any citizen can gain access to any information generated by the public administration. And of course, the government must supply that information to all citizens
seguridad de los datos, etcétera, que pone
in terms of data security, etc. And last, good governance,
esto es particularmente
and
interesante.
this
Y
specifically
obliga a
very
los
interesting
gobernantes a regirse bajo
because
criterios de eficacia,
forces
austeridad, imparcialidad y sobre todo de responsabilidad.
decision makers to follow patterns of responsibility. There's a series of ethical criteria, a series of fines or penalizations for governments not fulfilling what is established by law. And on the other hand, and in practical terms,
En cuanto a plazos y contenidos,
with regards to deadlines, the law is quite complex.
Siguiente transparencia.
The next slide.
No es importante que se vea cuáles son, simplemente ver cuál es el número
Well, I
total
just want
de
to show you the
entidades
number
y sobre las que
of
se debe
public
aplicar
institutions on which
esta legislación.
this legislation should be applied. Specifically, we have 437 municipalities, provincial governments, etc. Each of those organizations have got to have a transparency portal open and available and count with complex tools. With regards to deadlines, on the 11th of December is when this law will be approved. So from that date on, the obligations should follow such law. In the case of the Spanish government, you've got these three concepts on the economic level, or the transparency information. You've got it available at the level of the Spanish government and the ministries, information on open government, transparency, etc. And this would conclude the global and national perspective on the subject of open government and transparency. And we're going to look into the perspective that the Provincial Government of Malaga has during that term. This is a transparency portal. You can find it through the Malaga.es portal. You have all that information available there. And we have chosen a format consisting with what Transparency International proposes. It's a format with 80-something criteria, measuring whether that transparency level is reached or not, comparing some administrations, not scoring well at that index is very damaging for the image of decision makers, so we hope these put some pressure on decision makers so improvements are made in terms of transparency. The portal I've just shown you, it's also extended onto the provincial level. We've added all municipalities. We have powers over towns smaller than 20,000 inhabitants, and there's a global website covering all those municipalities, so any citizen can reach information on any of the municipalities in the province. So, having that information available at the level of the country is quite innovative. We add an observatory with an index, not of all the information, but of specifically selected values with a scale, color scale, which may motivate the public manager to generate transparency
Ya hemos comentado, lo ha comentado Sergio antes,
and also
posterior, el
Sergio has mentioned it.
como parte del proyecto Openwind.
This is mentioned as a part of the Penguin project, and it follows the transparency process. We've got 84 governments, and there's a global perspective for all the province of Malaga. And, well, I won't take much longer, because you won't be able to see that. Another basic element we have developed is the participation portal. In this case, it's a portal which allows citizens to ask decision makers to be active in terms of their participation, and in terms citizens can be active in terms of bringing different decisions. These are an interesting tool. The open data tool, it's been mentioned before how important it is not just to gather information on transparency, but also all sectors or elements you may see there: technology, culture, demography, all those sectors in the public administration on which information is available. Information which is made available to citizens through infomediaries, which are companies exploiting that information. So that big data, that great volume of information may be used to generate wealth through citizens in direct fashion by active citizens themselves or through their intermediaries. The smart cities concept would be an evolution of what we understand as the most passive, a more passive city becomes a more intelligent and active city. And through open data, richness and value can be sent or transferred to citizens. I also want to let you know that we've done a review on actions, and I'm going to focus on 2 or 3 actions which are most innovative. On the one side, in terms of our infrastructure, and also in terms of electronic transfer. The Agora network was a network which was designed as a homogeneous and sustainable network, so all municipalities in the province would have access to the services provided by the provincial government of Malaga. We didn't want differences in the province of Malaga. There's a certain geographical divide in the province of Malaga between the coastal towns and the inland towns, which come with worse infrastructure and wideband access, etc. There's a symmetric 20 megas connection with all the municipalities of the province. It's got a format of a local network, and municipalities may get access to services provided by the provincial government as if they were located in the same city. And we allow operators to use the infrastructure in order to generate richness, so that could be used for the maintenance of the network itself. And there are other operators which, through the provision of services, they use that network and pay their part of the maintenance. That service has been extended to citizens. We have made available for municipalities those tools. We've just reached a full year of electronic marketing, and we've got some 500,000 electronic documents, and we believe it's a very valuable tool, and there's a value which is quite attractive, which is counting the number of electronic procedures overall. In some cases, it has reached up to 100%. During the last year, there have been some towns which have managed to get all procedures to be processed electronically. It is if a specific paper is in a folder in someone's table, it's difficult for citizens to gain access to that, but electronic information has made an enormous leap, has meant an enormous leap in terms of the access to information overall. I don't know how we're doing with time. I've got an additional slide on how the Agora project was financed through the support program or municipal harmonization. This is a catalogue of services that every year the provincial government of Malaga makes available for all towns. I think we had some 40,000 million euros, and towns are offered a series of services. And we sometimes we can be, so to say, bought, and that allows for a certain level of internal competition. On the one side, we've got to be attractive, and municipalities can go and find services from other institutions in the administration, I would say. So in terms of infrastructure and electronic organization, all that made up the base of the Agora project. We had put on the table what had been already consolidated with the governments, and that was our contribution for the project, and we look for financing to enlarge the project. In that sense, what we proposed, the presidency of the provincial government was not, please give me that money to develop a European project, but rather with our actions, with our action in place, that they would be used as our contribution, and with the additional European funding, we would enlarge the scope of the
The service for e-administration has enabled us to have this system that is actually ongoing. I want to thank you for the attendance. I am fully available for these contacts that I've mentioned, and through the colleagues of the European projects for any kind of information that you require. So if at any stage you have any questions, I'll be delighted to answer them. That's all for the moment, and thank you. We'll continue with the schedule.